First of all, I would like to express my appreciation to all of you for joining the symposium. I also appreciate the welcome address of the Minister Ong Kang and the keynote address of the Secretary General Ki-tak Lim for highly evaluating the role of ReCAAP for maritime safety in Asia. My name is Masafumi Kuroki, Executive Director of ReCAAP Information Sharing Center. Today, I have the pleasure of sharing 15 years analysis of piracy and sea robbery in Asia and achievements of ReCAAP. The scope of my presentation is composed of 4 points: long-term trend, incident types, achievements, and the way forward. Next. This graph shows the long-term trend of incidents in Asia from 1991 to 2020. It compares 15 years period before and after the establishment of ReCAAP. There was a significant increase in the late 1990s and early 2000s. More than 200 incidents occurred every year. It threatened the safety of crew, safe transport of goods and energy, and caused higher operation cost. Against the escalating situation, the countries in the region agreed on a legal framework for regional cooperation, ReCAAP, which came into force in 2006. Since then, the number of incidents has become lower than the period before ReCAAP. ReCAAP has played a role of inciting and facilitating the efforts of coastal states and the shipping industry to address the maritime crime. Sorry, yep. Not this one, before, yes. Concerning piracy and sea robbery in Asia, we pay attention to the Strait of Malacca and Singapore because these straits are a vital sea lane for trade between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. This graph shows the number of incidents in the Straits of Malacca and Singapore from 1991 to 2020. The blue line is the Malacca Strait, and the red line is Singapore Strait. As you can see, many incidents occurred in the Malacca Strait from 2000 to 2004. It was then designated as a war risk zone by the Joint War Committee of Lloyd's Insurance Group. However, the situation began to improve in 2005. It is largely due to the coordinated ship patrols of the littoral states, namely Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, under the Malacca Strait Patrol, which was launched in 2004. Since then, the incidents have come down to a very small number. On the other hand, the incidents in the Singapore Strait increased from 2011. We had the highest number of 99 incidents in 2015. But thanks to the arrest of perpetrators, the incidents dropped to 2 cases in 2016, but they have started to rise again. The Straits of Malacca and Singapore are situated in the territorial seas of littoral states. Therefore, the jurisdiction of law enforcement belongs to each littoral state. However, the success of the Malacca Strait Patrol shows how effective the cooperation between littoral states can be to address trans-border crimes. Now I share the situation in the South China Sea. This graph shows the number of incidents from 1991 to 2020. The number has been fluctuating, and it is at a low level in recent years. But compared to other locations, incidents in the South China Sea were more severe in nature. In 2014 alone, there were 15 incidents of hijacking of tankers for oil cargo theft, which is one of the serious types committed by organized criminal groups. Now let me present the general pattern of incidents in Asia. We have analyzed 1,740 incidents reported in the past 14 years and identified some general patterns as follows. First, 87% were armed robbery against ships in the territorial seas, while 13% were piracy at high seas. The majority involved a small number of perpetrators of 1 to 6 men. The perpetrators were not armed with heavy weapons in most of the cases. Only in 10% of incidents, they were armed with guns and knives, and in 33% with knives or machetes. No weapon was reported in half of the incidents. Usually, the perpetrators were not violent. The crew members were not harmed in 80% of the incidents. And nothing was stolen in 33% of the incidents. Otherwise, ship stores were mostly stolen items. And most of the incidents occurred during hours of darkness. These patterns indicate the majority of incidents in Asia are not violent crimes, but rather robberies and petty thefts of opportunistic nature. Having said that, we have experienced serious types of incidents which do not fit the general pattern that I mentioned. This slide shows the trend of the different types of incidents. The robbery or petty thefts of opportunistic nature occurred throughout the 14-year period. In most of these cases, the crew members were not harmed. More serious incidents were those committed by organized criminal groups who didn't hesitate to harm the crew. From 2007, we have seen mainly 3 types of these serious incidents, which were hijacking of tugboats, theft of oil cargo from tankers, and abduction of crew for ransom. I present here the modus operandi of these serious incidents. Hijacking of tugboats occurred from 2009 to 2014 with a total of 13 incidents. They hijacked tugboats and barges and abandoned the crew in life rafts. And stolen tugboats and barges were renamed and sold in black markets. Oil cargo thefts from tankers occurred from 2011 to 2017 with a total of 42 incidents. And most of them occurred in the South China Sea. They hijacked a small tanker transporting oil products, tied up the crew, and steered the tanker far from shore. Then they siphoned the oil products to another ship and sell it in black markets. This type of incident has not occurred since 2018, thanks to the arrest of masterminds and perpetrators, and likely due to the drop of oil price. Abduction of crew for ransom started in March 2016 in the Sulu seas in the Philippines. The abduction is claimed by the Abu Sayyaf group, the terrorist group in Mindanao. They are armed with heavy weapons, kidnap crew from ships, and claim ransom. And since 2016, a total of 86 crew were abducted in 20 actual incidents. And unfortunately, 11 crew members were killed, and 4 crew members are still in captivity. Against the escalation of these serious incidents, we have produced guidebooks for the shipping industry on each of these 3 types of incidents. We have also produced a general guidebook, Regional Guide for Asia, to address all types of incidents. Now let me present the achievements of ReCAAP. With 15 years of operation, ReCAAP has made steady progress, and it is considered a successful model of regional cooperation. As achievements of 15 years, I would like to list up 5 points. Firstly, the establishment of an effective information sharing mechanism. Second is the expansion of member countries. Third is the qualitative analysis of incidents. Fourth is cooperation for the establishment of Djibouti Code of Conduct in East Africa. And the fifth is a wide network and cooperation with international and regional organizations, as well as with the shipping industry. And because of time constraint, let me elaborate on the first 3 achievements. Timely and accurate information sharing is a core mandate of ReCAAP ISC. Therefore, most important achievement is the establishment of an effective information sharing mechanism. This mechanism is based on the IMO Maritime Safety Committee Circulars 1333 and 1334. There are 4 steps. The first step is the incident reporting from ship to the nearest coastal state. The center has been advising the shipping companies to report all incidents immediately to the nearest coastal state. Ships are now reporting most of the incidents in Asia. The second step is the verification of incidents by focal points of member countries. It is an essential step for getting accurate information. And this verification is quite unique with ReCAAP among various reporting centers. It is already a well-established practice of focal point. The third step is the incident reporting from focal point through ReCAAP network. This network is well established among 20 focal points and the center, and it is also promoting close cooperation and solidarity among member states. The fourth step is the dissemination of information by the center. The center has been doing a lot for quick dissemination of information to the broad maritime community. We are using all the communication tools as much as possible. And our effort of media outreach is also producing very positive results. The center's information is increasingly covered by media. This chart summarizes the 4 steps of information sharing mechanism that I just mentioned. The 4 steps are presented in the flow of process from the top to the bottom of this chart. The second achievement that I would like to mention is the expansion of member states. ReCAAP started with 14 Asian countries, and the membership has increased to 20 countries now, including 4 European countries, Australia, and the United States. Furthermore, France and Germany are taking respective procedure to join ReCAAP. The expansion of membership to the countries beyond Asia, particularly to the major maritime states, indicate that the relevance of ReCAAP is widely recognized. It also enriches the capability of ReCAAP with expertise and experiences member states can contribute to our activities. The third achievement is the qualitative analysis of incidents. The number of incidents is surely important, but the nature of incidents is also a useful information for maritime risk assessment. And from this viewpoint, we have developed a qualitative classification to reflect the level of severity. It takes into account the violence factor and the economic loss. By combining these two factors, we classify the incidents into 4 categories. This classification is also unique with ReCAAP ISC. Among all the incidents from 2007 to 2020, only 5% of incidents were very serious, category 1, and 50% were petty thefts of category 4. Lastly, on the way forward, I would like to underline the importance of sustaining anti-piracy efforts amid the emergence of other maritime crimes. Unfortunately, there are various maritime crimes. Because of limited assets and manpower, maritime agencies need to put priority. And when the piracy and sea robbery become less severe, other crimes such as IUU fishing, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and smuggling may get higher priority. However, maritime transport, which supports more than 80% of international trade, is essential for economic development and people's life. The piracy and sea robbery is a direct threat to this important maritime transport. Therefore, combating piracy and sea robbery should remain a priority task of maritime agencies. In this regard, I think the ReCAAP should continuously take the following actions. First, we need to constantly make the 4 steps of our mechanism function effectively and efficiently, and to improve it further. Secondly, since the focal points are the linchpin of information sharing and law enforcement, continued enhancement of their capability is indispensable. The shipping industry is an important partner. Without incident reporting by ships, law enforcement by coastal states cannot be effective. Therefore, the ReCAAP should continue to proactively engage the shipping industry. And lastly, we have to be prepared to respond to new types of incidents. The abduction crew in the through services that I mentioned was not anticipated by many before it occurred in 2016. But quick response of the coastal states has significantly reduced the incidents. Our center has worked very closely with the Philippines with alerts, analysis, and recommendations. The center will remain vigilant to address emergence of new types of incidents. Although information sharing by ReCAAP is an important part of the whole process of addressing maritime crimes, the role of other players, such as the law enforcement agencies, the shipping industry, and international and regional organizations, is indispensable. I want to underline that the shared responsibility and collective actions should continue to be the most important guidance for the way forward. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I think the ReCAAP and its member countries have made a lot of progress in combating piracy and sea robbery. But there must be the need to improve in some areas and to embark on new areas for achieving the mission of ReCAAP. I'll be glad to hear the enlightening views of the panelists when they will discuss the future of ReCAAP. Thank you.